Welcome back to Sharing with Shamika, and today I'm going to be sharing my steak and rice recipe. I'm also going to be using some seasonal vegetables in this so I can sneak in a couple of vegetables in our dinner. I had a flank steak, and so I just cut that down into strips. And the key to flank steak, because it is a very tough piece of steak, make sure you cut against the grain. That's the white marbling of the tissue. Cut across from it. That'll make the steak be more tender. So here I've already cut up my steak and seasoned it and let it marinate for a few hours. Here are the seasonings that I used, and I'm going to be putting these seasonings and the measurements in the description box below. So once it's marinated and the meat is at room temperature, I went ahead and I started cooking the steak in small batches, trying to make sure never to overcrowd your pan. I'm one of those people that really didn't care for steak growing up because my mom overcooked it and it was always tough. So once I learned how to, first, number one, how to tenderize my meat, the different cuts of meat, then it was easier for me to start eating steak because it wasn't chewy. I understood how to cut it, what type of steak to pick out, and sometimes your budget don't allow you to get the most expensive cut of steak. So I had to learn how to pick out steak and cook it for me and my family. So like I said, I'm cooking these in batches. And once I have them all cut up, I am going to go ahead and cut these in smaller pieces so they're easy to eat. I'm also doing a side of rice with this. So here I'm just adding in my oil, my seasoning, just a little seasoning. And then once I put my seasoning in, I'm going to turn it on high. Once it starts boiling, I turn it down low, put a top on it, and let it cook for about 15 minutes. Make sure that you rinse your rice at least 3 times. I wait until my water is no longer cloudy. This will actually help your rice be fluffy as well. So I'm at the end of my batches of steak, and you can notice here that my sauce is starting to bubble up. So I'm going to remove the remaining steak out of this. And I'm going to add in some vegetables in here. I got this private selection from Kroger. It's in the frozen food section. And I'm going to add that to my pan. And you'll notice the frozen vegetables is going to cool down my pan considerably. So I'm going to make sure I get enough of that seasoning and oil and goodness from the steak all over my vegetables, and then I'm going to go ahead and add in some vegetable stock or some chicken stock. But let's talk about these vegetables. Here it has roasted yellow and red peppers, roasted zucchini, red onions, and cherry tomatoes with oil and seasoning. This was actually some good vegetables in here once I ate the steak. So if you have a Kroger, head to your local Kroger store and pick up this bag of vegetables. And here I'm going to add in just a little bit of chicken stock just so I can have enough so the vegetables can cook. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a top over my vegetables so that they can cook and become tender. And over here on the other side of the kitchen, I'm cutting my steak up just in smaller portions so it'll be easier to eat. And more steak, it'll go a long way when I cut it up this way. And while I was cutting this steak up, I did sneak a few pieces, and it was so good. The seasonings that I used actually had ginger teriyaki sauce in it, which gave it a little sweet kick to it, so it was really good. And I again got that from Kroger as well. So here I'm adding the steak back in. Found a few pieces that were still sort of big. I'm going to chop those up. But look how delicious this steak look already. And once I add the remaining pieces of steak in there, I'm just going to cover this up with a top. I did decide to add just a little bit more of this ginger teriyaki sauce. And again, I got this from Kroger as well. Once I mixed that all up, I went ahead and put a top on it. Let it cook a little bit more, probably like 5 minutes, and then I was ready to serve. And this was really good because I had my 11-year-old granddaughter at the house and she couldn't wait to get to this. So this is what the rice looks like once it had 15 minutes on low. See how it's all fluffy. So as I was stating before, my granddaughter actually asked for seconds. She really loved this dish. So take the time to make it at your house and for your family. Like I said, it was really a good spicy and sweet savory dish. I want to thank everyone for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks again.